If you have done stop motion animation in real life, you know how tedious and time consuming it can be. In this video, I'm going to show you how you can do stop motion animation in Studio to speed the process up significantly. A few years ago, I spent some time learning how to do stop motion animation, and I found the process really frustrating and time consuming, trying to get all the minifigs and everything lined up where they're supposed to be without falling over, and then taking the picture and having the correct lighting. It was a really monumental task to get even a few seconds of animation. Since I started working with Studio, one thing I kept thinking about was how to do stop motion animation in Studio to make the process easier. In this video, I'm going to take you step by step through how to set up your models for stop motion and how to set your render engine up for stop motion. One thing that is nice that is constant in Studio is your lighting. And now that we have the light bricks added into Studio, that will allow us to play a lot with the different lighting setups. Just to let you know, for those that don't know, I am a freelance Lego commission designer, which means I can take your design and turn it into reality in brick form. I've done all sorts of designs from business to personal and large to small, so if you have a project in mind that you would like to commission me for, my contact information is in the description below. As well, I produce instructions for other Lego designers, so if you have a mock that you wish to have instructions produced for, you can get in touch as well. Also, don't forget about the Studio Lego Designers Facebook community. We have over 1,500 members now, and it keeps growing every day. There are lots of great conversations going on and people asking and getting answers to their questions, and others displaying their works they've created in Studio, as well as lots of people sharing files and being able to help one another out. So it is a fantastic resource for anybody that uses Studio. So let's get started. This is the tank that you saw in the introduction. It was a commission I did about a month ago for a client. And when I was making this model, I really wanted to have the turret moving around. What we're going to be using for setting up our stop motion is the hinge tool and the T key. If you are unfamiliar with those, I will post a card with the videos showing how to use them. The next thing, if you're going to be doing any sort of complex model at all, you're going to need to set up your submodels so that when you hinge them or move them, that you're going to get the sub-assemblies that you want moving. So for instance, I wanted this barrel to pivot, but the pivot point is this gear, which is actually part of a different submodel. So in order to do that, I had to go into that submodel and bring that part out so that it connected up to the barrel instead of this submodel. So you have to think about those things when you are setting up for your animation. I'll do a quick demonstration here to show you how you're going to hinge everything using this minifig so that you can understand how you're going to make these animations work. So you're going to click the part that you want to hinge, press H to get the hinge points, click on which hinge point you want, and then click on that arrow. And rather than using the wheel to turn the arm, it's much easier when doing stop motion to actually type in the number that you want. So for your very first render, you don't need to change the model at all. This is the static pose that you want. So we will go and set up our render. Now that Studio has incorporated the ability to save your camera presets, it makes it much easier to do stop motion. So you can simply go and set up your camera on the angle that you want, and then click Save As and add in that profile. So when you do your animation, it's always going to be at that angle. Now, of course, if you're going to do panning and things like that with your model, then you're going to need to adjust the camera settings to take that into account. And you can do that through the XY panning options or the zoom scale or the field of view. Once you have the angle set up how you wish it, you are simply going to add to queue. So let's save this for now as minifig side and add to queue. Then we're going to close that screen out, go hinge the arm where we want it, and we will put it at 1 degree off for now. So that will bring the arm up 1 degree. Then we can, without deselecting that, go to render, add queue, X out, and notice now our part still has the hinge tool connected to it. Now we will put in our next number, so 358, render, add to queue, 357, and you'll just keep doing that until you have the animation that you want. So it really is a quick process if you're only dealing with one part at a time. Of course, the more parts you add, the longer it's going to take. You will have to go in between hinging each section on its own and then rendering out. But even with that said, compared to standard stop motion, this is a much faster process. Of course, if you're any good with video editing, I would definitely recommend just animating one character at a time or one piece at a time, and then bringing that all together in your video editing software and adding a background, etc., and putting it all in place that way, instead of trying to animate an entire scene all at once. And like all animation, the more frames that you have, the smoother the animation is going to look. Of course, if you want to do a quicker animation, you can increase the increments of range that you use in the hinging. And the other thing I wanted to show you is when you are using the T key to, say, make a minifigure up and down, if you press the T key, you will notice that there are numbers beside it here where you can enter in the number manually. This is the same idea as the hinge tool, where you will render in between each segment that you make so that you can see the incremental changes over time. When you have got the animation how you want it, you will have everything in your queue. And then you can go and render your queue. If you're using a good animation software or a video editing software, it will read each of those pictures as part of the animation and just lump them in together. The video editing tool I use is DaVinci Resolve. I will put the link in the description below. It's a fantastic tool. There's a lot to it. There's a lot you can do with it, but it really can't be beat for video editing. For that animation I did with the turret turning and elevating up and down, I only grabbed 58 frames for that because I was only doing a small section, and I added spaces in between of freeze frames where the turret stops moving for a second, and then I simply reversed my clip to bring the turret back around. So with all animation, you want to reuse as many of your frames as possible to be able to render out a much longer animation. This will apply the same thing in Studio. If you have a character that's walking along, you'll only have to animate 1 or 2 steps, and then you can use that throughout the entire animation. I know this was a very brief look at doing stop motion in studio, but honestly, it isn't a complicated process. It is just really time consuming, although not nearly as time consuming as doing it in real life. And there's much more you can do in studio than in real life, where you can easily make your objects go up and down and side to side, which takes a whole lot of green screen work or different ways of building your backdrop so that you can get the models to move like that. In studio, it's literally the click of a button. So if you have a play feature or you want your minifigs moving around in studio, then this is the way to do it. And once you've taken a little time, you can have an animation like this. In my next video, I am going to be going back into LCAD and I'm going to be showing you how to actually make the flexible parts have nice curves like this without all the frustration of trying to use the flexible tool in studio, which definitely has its limitations. As well, I have plans to look deeper into doing Blender animation in the future. I've been able to transfer my models directly over from Studio into Blender and do animations in Blender with my Studio models. If you watch the video of the train model I just did, the first two animations are directly from Studio, but the third animation showing different perspectives and showing how the parts of the train fit together is actually done in Blender. So I will be delving deeper into that. So I hope you join me for the upcoming videos, and thanks so much for watching. If this video has helped you out, please take the time to like, subscribe, and share it around, as that helps me to reach more people with these tutorials and we can further grow the studio community together. Thanks so much. Have a fantastic day. Keep dreaming of bricks. Bye bye.